Hi guys, welcome to Women's Empowerment segment on Edge Radio Network TV. I'm your host, Nicole Giddens, health and fitness expert. I have my co-host here, Brooke White,
Hello.
survivor expert and entrepreneur extraordinaire. I love saying that.
She does.
How are you feeling this morning?
I feel great. It's Friday.
You didn't stay out too late last night?
I did not, actually. I did
She's
not.
lying.
No, I didn't. I went home. I did not stay out too late, and I got up and I did my thing this morning, so it's been great.
She's single, ready to mingle.
Oh
I
my
just like to
God,
give her a
I'm
hard
single,
time.
but it doesn't mean I'm ready to mingle.
That's what she thinks. She flirted with a cop the other day that pulled her
I
over.
did not flirt with a cop.
She
I just got
did
out of a
too.
ticket. Like
He
four.
He writes her. We didn't even write.
He didn't even give me paper, y'all. No paper.
And she goes, "Wait, what's your name?" As the cop's walking away, he just started laughing. She goes, "Here's my card if you need a realtor."
Well,
So, Brooke,
I mean, I don't know what to say.
I said you were flirting. She said
I was
no,
not
wasn't.
flirting. I didn't want a ticket.
Was she flirting?
And I could have totally
I
got a
would have
ticket.
too, though.
Look, my
She flirted
ID
after
didn't have
she
my
got out of the
address
ticket.
Oh, then
correct.
yes, flirting.
I was speeding.
You flirted after you got out of the ticket.
No, I was trying to sell a house after I got out of the ticket. I'm not going to lie. It is what it is. Walking billboard over here.
Today we have a special guest, Jen McQueary with Allegiance Volleyball. She is the founder and the owner. She has an amazing story to tell today that has a great happy ending. We're going to talk about how God can turn any bad thing around in our
Sure.
lives for the greater good. But I always like to start off with a little icebreaker to get some kicks and giggles in there. So I pulled up stuff about PMS.
Oh, God.
That's wonderful
Why
letters.
not? PMS jokes aren't funny? Period.
Period.
There was one that said, "I don't need a period tracker. I was reading something that was written on the bathroom wall and I just started tearing up and crying right there in the toilet."
It happens. It happens.
Did your husband always know when you're about to start?
Oh, yes.
I think our
Yes.
husbands know before we do.
Yes. He'll ask me, and I'm like, yeah, it's about
Yeah,
that
that's
time.
Excuse
about
me?
right.
Oh no, don't ask me. I'd be like, "Excuse me?" Or he'd sneeze and I'd go, "What you say?" Just a little agitated.
No, I
Yep.
get so agitated. Everything
Yes.
irritates me.
It's kind of true.
How do you know when a woman's mad?
She's quiet.
Ooh.
This
She
one.
yells.
Or that. That too.
So anything?
I
Line of
guess.
symbols.
She talks.
Yeah, she's nice to everybody else but you.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one.
She-
It happened. We're
Or
not
she
friends
says,
right now.
"I'm not mad."
Oh.
What do you mean?
Or fine.
Yeah.
And then there's
Okay.
Whatever.
the next sentence
Okay.
with, I just think it's funny how.
Yeah.
So you know.
Or you've always got like the one woman that's pissed and the man doesn't know why.
Yes.
Has no idea what
Oh.
he did. He's like, "What did I do?"
Well, let me write it down.
We're complicated creatures,
We
right?
are.
Yes.
We are.
But you know what? We have it hard.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think there's more pressure on us these days as women.
There's a ton of pressure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Especially in the workforce. And
Oh,
that's one
no
of the things
doubt.
that we're going to be talking about today. So, Jen, you were working for a company
Mm-hmm.
and you had a horrific experience happen to you. Hashtag me too.
Yes.
Why don't you tell us how long you worked there, how it got started, just once upon a time, and
Well, Sean and I had just been married, and we moved to Dallas, where his family was from Houston. And I was pregnant with my first child and needed a good income with benefits. So found this job to do some accounts receivable stuff for them, and it had great benefits. So started off strong. And I was there for several years before things kind of went south.
And did you take the position just for the benefits, or did you truly have a passion for what the company was doing? Was it a distribution company? I know you're not allowed to say the name, but
So I'm just competitive in nature, and the job was kind of being competitive with people all over the country, and so I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
You know, I was always on top. I was always the number one, and so to me it was fun.
Oh, yeah.
And so, you know, I enjoyed my job. And then I had my second child while I was there, and he was about 6 months old, maybe a year old, before things went sour.
So what happened?
Elaborate.
So, long story short, because it's a long story. They were employing somebody that was a sexual offender, and I didn't know it. And
Obviously, they didn't know it, right?
they had reports. Yeah,
Yeah.
there have been reports.
Most of the
They
time
were pretty
there are.
aware of it,
Yeah.
and they had partnered me with him to do some work, and he was a predator, and I was his prey for the whole day, and I didn't say anything for a long time, just because I didn't want to lose my job.
Right.
I had a newborn. Well, I had a baby at home and then a toddler. So I just didn't say anything, and I wanted to. I told myself I was going to take it to the grave. That's really hard to do, though. It eats away at you. And Sean kept saying, like, "You're different. What's going on? What's going on?" And finally,
You shouldn't have to feel bad about explaining
Right.
yourself when something
I
bad
did.
happens to you.
I did.
And
though.
it does happen to you though. When
I
that
was-
feeling.
Because I felt like I was going to get blamed, and of course I did. And people just don't know how to listen. And that's what I was afraid of, and I was afraid I was going to lose my job. And so when I did come out with it, I did lose my job, and I was very fortunate to have family that could help me.
So walk me through that whole thing, because there's parts of the story we're skipping.
Yeah.
So you're at home. Your husband's going, okay, something's wrong with you, babe. I can tell you're acting different. Tell me what's going on. You let him know about the situation, and
Not even. I gave him the most G-rated version possible, so he loses it. He is so angry. He calls authorities, and I was begging him not to. And he's like, "No, we are recording this. We're doing it." And so we filed a police report, and I guess in the state of Texas, they can decide to press charges. So that's what they did. They said, "Doesn't matter what you want, Jen. We're going to see this through."
yes, if you have enough evidence,
The state will pick it up. Yeah.
And so I had to go through the whole grand jury thing, which was horrific. And then I went through trial with this company because they were negligent for employing this person and then putting me with him,
Right.
knowing what kind of person he was. So my aunt, who is a sexual assault survivor, Sean called her and said, "This happened." And again, he only knew the G-rated version. In fact, he didn't hear the entire story until 5 years later in court.
And he probably saved him on that.
You
one.
probably really did for
Because
5
he
years.
might have ended up being in jail.
It's probably a big deal.
I've been there, done
I
that
had to
myself.
talk
where you
him
keep
down.
things- Yeah, you keep things because you just don't know how they're going to react.
I was trying to protect him
Right.
and preserve myself, I think, too.
Yeah.
And so things came out little bit by little bit over the years, but he finally heard the whole story at trial, and I think he had 5 years to kind of digest this.
Yeah.
So that helped a lot. But then, so he calls my aunt and he says, "Hey, something happened with Jen. I think she was maybe raped. I'm not sure." She didn't hesitate. She said, "I'm packing my bag." She was in Houston.
Yeah.
"I'm on my way." So she drives up, and she kind of talks me into going and seeing an attorney the next day and kind of seeing this through. And I was kind of iffy about it, but I had this. I couldn't audibly hear God speak, but it was almost this thing like, "You have to do this. This is the right thing to do, and I'm going to take care of you. Right? Just trust me." And so I did. I kind of just dove in with everything I had, and it all ended up working out in the end. It was a very, very long road, and then I still have days, every once in a while, but
Like a slap in the face every time you have to go to court, you have to relive it.
You do.
Now, when you say this guy was reported, he was reported within the company?
With other assault situations.
Yeah.
Really?
Wow.
But that goes to show in most cases, whenever they finally come down to
he
getting
top
convicted,
sales?
they had it.
Yeah.
That's about right.
It's more about
That's
the
about right.
money.
It is. It's always about the money.
It's crazy.
Wow.
Sickening.
I know.
And so how much did you pay in attorney's fees and everything for all this?
God, it was like 600,000.
What?
That is so ridiculous.
What? Just for your truth?
Yeah.
So by
Just
the
for your
time,
truth, literally.
Yep.
yeah.
What?
Yeah.
So by the time you get settled with your lawsuit,
It's, I mean, you know,
I mean,
yeah, it's just suffering. Like, the suffering's still there.
yeah,
And there
you
was no
endured longer.
no money that made it better.
Well, and
Wow.
they even asked me. They were like, "So, you know, what kind of figure are you looking to make this go away?" And I
That's
said,
not-
"I was like,
That's
that's
such...
my goal is to hurt their pocket enough that they have to change their policies.
Right.
You know, if I don't get their attention, they're just going to continue.
Right.
But if they go, man, this writing this check hurts, maybe they'll review their policies and maybe I could make a difference."
Change the policy, kick that mother scratcher the hell out of the
Mhm.
building.
We'll make a difference.
They finally did.
No,
I
I
mean-
bet. I mean, all this publicity.
Yeah. Well,
It's
and
ridiculous.
Wow.
it was all through arbitration too,
Yeah.
so it was all very hush hush.
Ah.
You know, it wasn't public
She
record.
still can't say.
Yeah, I still can't say.
Well, we don't want to know,
Yeah.
but no, I mean, it gets around though. No,
Oh,
you know
for
what I mean.
sure.
It
I'm
might
sure
not have
it
been
does.
publicized, but people are still talking.
Yeah.
They know, and that's just how it is. Though. You
Mhm.
can't keep things under wraps for long. Secrets always come out.
That's
But
right.
I just felt like I was supposed to go through this, and as crazy as this sounds, like I wouldn't take it back.
Right.
I wouldn't want to relive it, but it shaped me and it changed me, and it actually made me ready for, because, you know, I coach young girls,
Right.
and I have girls that come to me saying, you know, this is happening at home, or this is happening outside of my home, and I'm more prepared to handle it, and I know how to help them.
Preparation.
Every battle that we fight, even though it seems unfair, there's always a purpose that
Mhm.
God can
Yes.
turn into for our lives.
Right.
And you're such an inspiration. And what you did out of this outcome is so fantastic. And how she works with these young ladies, and you change these young ladies' lives. You give them instilled confidence, and there's so much integrity involved. And I'm so intrigued by everything you guys do. There's
Same.
a true passion behind you and your husband's
Yeah.
Allegiance volleyball team.
Love it.
So when we come back from break, we're going to hit upon that subject. We're going to dig in a little bit deeper about her mentorship with her girls. So you guys stay tuned. We'll see you in a minute.
We work our whole lives to support our families. With one accident or illness, it can all be gone in an instant. Now there's a smart, affordable way to protect your family. Go to findhealthbenefits.com and discover low-cost life insurance for as little as $2 per month. Add to that a tax-deferred annuity that can help you protect your assets and grow your money for retirement. Learn more. Go to findhealthbenefits.com or call 877-235-6094. A critical illness can strike without warning and wipe out your life savings. In fact, it's the #1 reason for bankruptcy. Find Health Benefits offers an affordable solution. Get up to $50,000 if you get cancer, stroke, or a heart attack, giving you the peace of mind to focus on getting better while the plan helps you to pay your bills and medical expenses. Learn more. Go to findhealthbenefits.com or call 877-235-6094. 66% of seniors spend more time shopping for cable TV than Medicare plans. Most say because it's just too confusing. Laws change every year, The wrong plan could cost you thousands and prevent you from seeing the doctors you want. Introducing FindHealthBenefits.com. Save time, save money, see specialists without referrals. Go to FindHealthBenefits.com or call 877-235-6094 for this informative brochure.
Society is on the edge. Let's bring them back. Edge Radio, because truth still matters.
Hey, welcome back to Women's Empowerment. I'm your host, Nicole Giddens. I got L. Brooke White next to me.
Now they can look me up.
Now we
Thank
got
you.
some secrets revealed here. We decided she needs to keep the L in front of the Brooke. And we're going to take a vote. You guys message me if you think she needs to keep the L in
They
front
don't
of
even know what the L stands for. Y'all don't
Love.
even know. Oh, hell. Love Brooke White. That's great. That's great.
We have our special guest here, Jen McQuarrie. We were just talking about a Me Too movement situation, but that's just a little bit for the negative feels for this show, because I just love what she did. She turned this bad situation around for the greater good. So your lawsuit is over. You guys are done. Everything's finalized. And then what?
Well, actually, just 6 months after it was reported, we decided to move out of that city, out of Dallas-Fort Worth, and come back to Houston, because I didn't feel comfortable even going to the store. I didn't want to run into anybody, and so I had to get out of the city. So my aunt helped us move back, and I said, you know what? I don't think I can work for anyone else right now, so I'm just gonna do some volleyball, maybe have a team or something. And so we started out of this YMCA, single, holes in the floor type YMCA building, and we had tryouts, and it was somewhat successful, and I had 4 teams the first year, and this was all simultaneously while I was going through the whole process for court, which was excruciating. And I didn't really let anybody know what was going on. They're young girls. I kind of wanted to see how my story kind of ended, because I just had this feeling, I knew I was going to be taken care of. God told me, you're going to get through this. You're going to win this. It's not going to be for nothing. And so even on the days where it got really hard and I just thought, I can't do this anymore, I have to quit, that was in the back of my mind, and it kept pushing me. And I thought, how inspiring for young girls if I can go through this while trying to start a business and then winning. And I thought, for my daughter, for all these young girls that are in my gym and in front of me every day, I can't quit, and I have to see this through. Even if for some reason I did lose the entire case and everybody walked away quote free, I would be able to say I did what I could. And for young girls, because I think things like this happen a lot to young girls in high school, early college years, and so I kind of use my platform to teach them to speak up against anything. If it's bullying or if you're being treated wrongly by anybody, to stand up for yourself and say, I have boundaries, I deserve better, I need this.
If you don't, people will walk all over you.
Your whole life, though.
People take your kindness
even as
for
an
weakness,
adult.
too.
Exactly.
They
Oh,
do.
absolutely.
You
on
have
that
to
one.
be assertive about the way you address everything in life. It's kind of a shame, but
Yes.
But
Can't
it's
let
the
people
truth.
walk all over you.
As women, some people see us as weak,
Right.
and so just loving yourself enough to say, you know what, I might lose this friendship with you, but I have to set boundaries.
Yep.
Did any part of this path for you change you in a way?
In every way. Every way. It changed my marriage. Because it was hard on our marriage.
Yeah.
But we stayed united. I couldn't imagine doing this with anyone else. Sean was with me through everything. Always had my back. It was, what do you need? I will help you get through this. So I was really lucky with that.
Definitely.
But it changed the way I talked, the way I thought, the way I acted in public. I became much more reserved and more of an observer. I used to be this big, bubbly personality, and I'm much more reserved now.
I cannot see you with the bubbly person.
I know, isn't it weird?
Yeah. No, I was scared of her when I met her.
Really?
Yeah.
Most everyone is.
110%.
I said 110%.
No, most
She
people are
has a
scary.
she's don't mess with
Well,
me
you
kind of
got the
vibe.
barn and yeah.
I have that look that everyone tells me that they meet me and they're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, good." She's
I mean,
scary.
I didn't see that, so I don't know.
You're tough, man. You're
It
tough.
did. It made
Well,
me
it makes
tough.
you tough. It
It
does.
made me tough.
All your teams are tough. You train your girls to be tough, but tough in a good way. You don't let them bully each other. You don't let them belittle each other. I've seen a lot of club volleyball leagues that there's a lot of bullying going on inside and taunting and sarcastic ways to trick the other player. You win because you're skilled, not because you trick the other
Very
player.
true.
That aggravates me. I gave him a picture of your girls. Can we flash it on the screen? I love this picture of your 18 girls, 18 Royal.
Is this a nationals photo?
It's one I creeped on your Facebook. It's a black and white. He'll pull it up in a second. That's him and
there we go.
This one. I love that picture. Those
Good
girls
job.
are saying, "Go ahead, mess with me." I
love
dare
it.
ya."
Yeah.
They're
Confidence.
so tough. They look so confident. That's that's a young women's empowerment photo right there.
Yeah.
You know, I just love that.
Oh,
look at, she's cheering them on.
Good
Nice
job.
and loud.
I can't sit down when I'm coaching. I have
That's
to
her
stand
husband
up.
right next
So
to
what's
her.
the youngest that y'all have?
8.
8. Oh,
Yeah.
goody. I'm about to send both of mine to you.
All right.
100% of
Yes.
their 18s get scholarships.
Really?
100%.
Whether they take them or not, that's on
That's
them.
nice.
But
though.
you know, if you work hard,
You can't.
there's
no
colleges out there
wrong with
for
that probability.
everybody.
There is. There is.
You know, any level. You just
Mhm.
have to know how to look and where to look.
True. That is true.
So you're on looking at the holes on the floor
Right.
in the YMCA, and you're training your 4 teams, and you're finalizing your lawsuit, and then what?
So my aunt comes to me and she says, "I'm gonna front you the money to sue these people." She said, "I know you're gonna win." She said, I've heard your story. I've heard their arguments. You can't lose. You're telling the truth. And so I'm going to write you a check, open your own gym. You can pay me back when you sue them and win the money back. So that's exactly what happened.
I love it.
I love it.
Yeah.
And there it went. Isn't that an
That was
amazing
it.
story?
I love it.
And they change little girls' lives all the time.
That's the goal. Like, everyone thinks that our goal is to get them to play in college. and
Yeah, but
everything.
no.
That is a goal.
Yeah.
But my goal, when I think about, I had a coach, Coach Krista Williams, and I think back, and I sometimes, I was so angry with her, but now I look back and I am so thankful. She was tough. She made us disciplined, but she changed my life in so many ways. All I want is, I'm 35 years old, and I still look back and go, I would not be the same person without her. She's the reason that I was able to go through that trial, because she pushed me in so many ways. I knew how to, I was comfortable being outside of my comfort zone.
Right.
And I want to be that for them. It's a lot more than just volleyball. Like, these are life lessons, life skills. I hope that when they're 35, 45, 55, they go, remember when Jen taught us to work through this problem like this? That's what we're going to do. That's all I want.
Memories.
What was
That's
that?
awesome.
What was that T-shirt they made for you? What Coach Jen says? What was some
Oh
of the
my
phrases?
gosh. Well, of
What
course.
would Coach Jen do?
Yes, there was
I
that.
like the phrases that she would say off the, when she's on the court. And they're
Sometimes I
playing.
say stuff.
So funny. Do you remember any of them?
Oh,
Or are you too
yeah.
ashamed to say?
I'm too ashamed.
get McKenna back over.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, yeah, but if you can't have fun, then
No, that's what you have to have.
So you were not going to give me one?
Oh.
PG-13.
Okay. PG-13 was, if at first you don't succeed, do it the way Coach Jen told you to do the first time.
Just listen.
Yes.
Hashtag listen.
Yes.
WWJD, but Jen.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
there you go.
They actually had shirts that said that.
I bet. I
Yeah.
believe it. That's great. Jesus and Jen.
It's so important for any young lady to have some type of platform
Yeah.
where they feel comfortable in their own skin and they feel good about themselves and they feel like they've persevered to learn a skill. Volleyball is hard.
Oh, it is.
My daughter laughs at me because I can't. I still don't know how to do the.
You don't?
You did it.
That's how you do it.
Yeah, just like that.
I mean,
All right,
it'll
good.
still bust a blood vessel, though.
Oh yeah, I did.
I play in the backyard with Kennedy because she
I
makes
did.
me.
Those balls are hard.
They are hard.
And then you got her hitting it so hard now.
I know.
You have to.
Oh my god! I'm like,
I just like to
forget it. Don't
spike
serve it to me. Toss it to me, or I'm not
Good
playing.
therapy.
It's great therapy. I'm like,
Yeah,
give me that
very
ball.
aggressive.
Give me that ball.
If I could hit it,
Oh, I
I'd throw
get
it
it.
up in the air,
Hmm.
and I
Yeah, that's
There
what you
you
do.
go.
That's it. It's
Paintbrush.
it's down.
It happens. I know.
It happens to even actual volleyball players. People miss the ball sometimes. They literally go up with all their might. And these are college players, and sometimes they completely miss. It happens.
Hey,
Yeah, but not every single time.
let's
So,
hope.
if you were going to talk to another woman and she had had a circumstance that affected her life and she still hasn't said anything about it yet, what kind of advice would you give her?
First, the most important thing is finding the right audience.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you don't want to go up and tell your story to someone that isn't willing to listen.
Yeah.
So the moment you find someone or know of someone that is willing to hear you out, just let it go.
Yeah.
Just
Tell 'em
word
everything.
vomit. Or a lot of times we're not ready to say the whole thing at first. And so get that little blip out. And the rest will kind of fall out in weeks, months, sometimes years.
It takes years.
Yeah.
sometimes.
And it was like the moment I finally said, I can't hold this anymore, I felt like I could breathe.
Mhm.
And I knew that I had opened a
Right.
whole can of worms,
Yeah.
but I wasn't alone anymore.
Right.
I wasn't carrying all this on my own.
It wasn't eating at you.
Yeah.
You were living it alone by yourself. It's like when you let it out and you speak about it, even if people are going to be negative about it, it's
Right.
like, oh my God, I can breathe that.
I had my husband to cry
Yeah,
on and
you
say
know.
it's okay, and
I can get through this.
yeah,
Be prepared for the negativity because
Oh,
people
it's
just
coming.
suck sometimes.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
suck
Sorry,
or
guys.
it's not. They
That's
just
what-
they
you
don't
know,
believe you, stuff like that.
that was probably the hardest part.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Was people saying, "Oh, it's your fault. You
Mhm.
asked for it. You know, you're stupid. It's
Why'd you wait so long?
oh, I got that.
And
why
why
didn't
don't you say
that's-
something
that's
right
a,
away?
a lot of things in
You
any
must
type
be
of
lying
abuse
because you
yes,
waited so
you didn't
long.
tell.
And it's just because they're
Yeah.
uneducated.
They
Because
are.
most people don't say anything right.
No, it takes a long time for any abused victim to actually be like, okay, I can do this and I'm gonna get out. It's really it takes years, you know. So
Well, I think we learned a lot today from you. And we really appreciate having you on the
Yes.
show. And thank you for sharing your story because
Yes.
somebody out there needed to hear it.
Yes.
very true.
Tell our audience where they can find you.
Well, if you go to allegiancevolleyball.com, all my contact info is on there. And then you can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram at Allegiance Volleyball.
yes.
And watch their interview. They were just on Athletes United.
Yes.
So they got a lot of good content about their volleyball league on there. So we'll see you guys after the break. We'll have Marlise Ledbetter on. See you in a minute.
Between the ages of 0 and 5, a child's mind is very impressionable. Researchers call it the theta brainwave. This low frequency is the state of consciousness between the conscious and subconscious worlds. In this state, the mind is capable of deep and profound learning, healing, and growth. There is a subconscious loop that's created during these early years. Who you believe you are has been downloaded based on experiences that you have had. A bad experience could create fears and limitations. Do you love who you are? Do you believe in yourself? The reality is that you can't control your childhood. All you can do is interpret it. You can choose to see your good and your value. Try this experiment. Project forward. See yourself at 80 years old. Now you have lived a lifetime. What advice would you have for your younger self? What risks would you have taken? What relationships would you have avoided? Did you celebrate life? Did you allow yourself to feel, to be present? Your 80-year-old self would tell you to not live in fear, to have faith that things will work out, that all you have to do is persist until you succeed. Your 80-year-old self would tell you to stay healthy, to take care of your body. And it would ultimately tell you to share your gifts with the world.
Welcome back to Women's Empowerment. We have Marlise Ledbetter here. She's the presidential founder for Green Compass CBD, and she also has her own company, ND Hump. Ooh. Not hemp. No humping. No humping. That's the next show. No. Hemp Company. I have my co-host here, Brooke White. Before we get down to the nitty-gritty about cannabis and the benefits and the importance and the passion that drove her there, she has a compelling story that started at a very young age. And so, once upon a time, my dad was in Vietnam, and he was a helicopter pilot, and one of the things that he had to do in Vietnam was spray Agent Orange from his helicopter into the jungle to kill back all of the vegetation so they could see their enemy. What they didn't know is that Agent Orange is a very severe neurotoxin, and it attaches to your DNA and it gets passed down. So a lot of people after Vietnam were sterile and had problems conceiving, and then when they did have children, they had massive deformities. So if you ever want to Google children born after Vietnam, it's terrible. You know, no arms, no legs, spina bifida. There's a lot of things. When I was born, my right leg wasn't growing at all, and it was very, very slow growing, and so that created complications over time. Scoliosis, spinal stenosis, degenerative disc disorder. Over time, I started developing neuropathy. And it really came to a head when I lost complete feeling in my left leg and had drop foot and like total paralysis. And my neurologist was like, this is just something that you're gonna have to deal with for the rest of your life. I can't guarantee that anything will help it.
I was on 12 different medications, and part of Agent Orange also is bipolar disorder, ADHD, depression, and I saw my dad struggle with it, but he was always he was a pilot, he kept his things together. I mean, he'd always been so successful. But once militant, very militant, military, strong man, taught me so much. But when he hit retirement, it was really apparent that all of those things he was suffering from. And we kind of correlated it. We got information from the Veterans Association that I had a disability. And it was, all from Agent Orange exposure, because it gets passed down in your DNA, and it gets passed down now that they realize 4 generations.
It's still in the soil.
It's still in the soil out there. And they use hemp to clean the soil.
Nice.
Which is really interesting. Yeah.
Nice.
So it kind of comes full circle when you think about it.
Sure does.
That's really cool.
Hemp is a bioaccumulator, so it sucks toxins out of the soil. So toxins, pesticides, nuclear disasters, things like that, they use hemp to go in and clean it, and it helps. Yes.
That's
Great.
interesting.
So 12 different medications. You cannot tell me that was actually not, like, that couldn't have been helping you much. It was
No,
just
I
coding the
mean,
problem.
I really didn't feel a lot of pain relief, honestly. I felt like the medication was making me crazy several points in my life. My first medications in junior high, I tried to commit suicide. It was just really reactive, put me right into suicidal thoughts.
Yeah.
And then again, during my first marriage, in the beginning of my 20s, I also had another suicide attempt. And I really believe that my honest personality would never be suicidal. And it really drove me into that, that deep dive into just, you feel hopeless. You don't feel like you deserve to be on earth anymore. No one deserves to feel the pain that you're giving to them as well. And it kind of creates this like dark persona,
like you're a burden.
Yeah, that you're a burden. And then a lot of the medications were interacting with each other, so I had to be on a seizure medication, and it came to a head when I had a sickness. I think it was like a sinus infection. I was given a medication and interacted with one of the others, and I started having seizures.
Oh, no.
And within a week, I was just blacking out all the time at work. I had no idea where I was, and I had a grand mal seizure before I went to work one day. Smashed my head. I don't know where because I don't remember it, but I hit my head, and the swelling was all inside my brain. So when I went to the hospital, they had to relieve the swelling from my brain, which we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars in medical bills. After insurance, it was still around like $45,000 out of pocket. Wow. And my husband was like, no more medications. Like, we're not doing this anymore. I had to go through 8 months of therapy, couldn't barely work. I was commissioned sales in recruiting and staffing, couldn't work. I mean, I went from making 6 figures to like $35,000 that year. It was devastating, and I couldn't even pay the bills.
And you could have sued your doctor.
And we went through the process of looking into that, and they said the pharmaceutical companies will just drag you through the mud, and you'll just end up spending more money to get no resolve, and this is just how it is. And I was so frustrated with that. But at the same time, my husband heard a podcast, and we had already known a lot about cannabis, had friends in California growing it and making medicines. And he listened to this podcast, and they said they have a cannabis extract that doesn't get you high. It's only medicinal. And my husband goes, do you think you want to try it? And I'm like, sure, why not? I mean, at this point, anything goes. Like, I've tried massage therapy and
anything.
Yeah, exactly. I had gone through everything, all of the alternative therapies, and I was like, I'm willing to do anything possible. And so we got the CBD oil from Colorado, and within weeks, I was sleeping through the night. My anxiety level went from like a 10. I felt like I was bursting out, like my 12, level 12 anxiety. Down to like a 3. I felt like it was manageable. Even when stress would hit me, I felt like I handled it better. I felt like the pain wasn't necessarily gone, but it had leveled out a lot, like that it was tolerable. And then within 6 months, I felt like normal again. And when I say normal, like when I remember being in 6th grade, before things kind of spiked into puberty and my brain and my body started really
leveled,
going off to the deep end, I felt normal again. And I was like, I've got to tell other people about this. There's so many people suffering out there. So I started telling, my sisters and my friends, and I'm like, y'all, it is legal. I promise you it's legal. Like, nobody's talking about it in Texas yet, but it's legal here. And so I was like, nobody knows about what cannabis does and how
Right.
it works. Everyone thinks I'm, smoking pot, and I'm not. I'm taking a tincture in my mouth, and I was like, if I'm going to convince people that this works, I have to get educated also. And so I dove into books. I bought everything I could possibly find on cannabis and medical marijuana and CBD, because there wasn't a lot of stuff on CBD because that's just one molecule in the plant.
Yeah.
But I just dove in. I started following all these doctors and reading their books and going to seminars. And then CBD started becoming a little bit more prevalent in the marketplace. And I thought, maybe I should make this a side hustle. Just make some money,
Yeah.
it could be my purse fund. And sure enough, it like grew into this business. And so I started thinking about a name, and Indie Hemp Company came to me from like a few different ways. Hemp.
She just said hump too.
Hemp.
Yeah.
She did.
Oh, it's
Hemp
on the
Co.
screen.
Yeah,
There
Indie
we
Hemp
go.
Co.
Hemp with an E. No hump today.
Indy was born. I wanted to have like a feminine
love
logo,
I
and
love that.
thank you.
I love it.
And Indy was more about like independence for medicine. Also, the Indian Hemp Commission was written by William O'Shaughnessy, and you can Google that. But it's really about the rights of the Native Americans to use cannabis because they had been using it for thousands of years. And really, we have documented medicine for 10,000 years of human history using cannabis as a medicine, and it's in the Bible in Exodus, the
It
flowering
is.
tops of cannabis.
Well, it's such a potent anti-inflammatory, and that's the first thing that causes disease body
Yes.
is your inflammatory
Yeah.
responses.
Absolutely.
So if you can smother inflammatory responses by keeping your body at a balance, then there's you talk about the cannabinoids and the spectrum of how many different systems it can hit and how very beneficial it is for you. I mean,
It's literally
I'm
every cell in
sold.
the body. Almost
Yeah.
every cell in the body has an endocannabinoid receptor. So your brain, your nervous system, your muscle tissue, your organs, all of your peripheral systems, hormone functions, your chemical response. And the best way to think about it is the endocannabinoid system is the system that, like, you get in a car accident, your body goes into fight or flight. And there's another system that balances that right back down, right? That's the endocannabinoid system, making those balances happen, releasing chemicals, responses to inflammation, responses to pain, responses to stressors, balancing out your melatonin production, which is a hormone from your brain to tell you when it's time to sleep and when to wake up. And people take synthetic hormones, melatonin from the grocery store, and it's interrupting the body's natural balance to make it. And so, why does CBD work for 100 things? It's very simple. It's in the cellular receptors. It's creating communications with the body.
it's a lock and key
It's
mechanism.
a lock and key mechanism. It sure is. And it's
I love
on
it.
every part of the body.
Interesting.
And that's why you see someone has good sleep, and then they have a good stress change, and then all of a sudden all of these other things are happening. People's disease is actually stopping their progression.
Right.
And that's like what's mind-blowing is like, how are we not telling everyone? And that's why I got into this business. I was like, I've got to tell everybody.
Well,
If I could change one person's life, somebody, not, stopping them from committing suicide,
You never
being
know.
a better
Depressed,
mother,
right.
being better at work, being a better human overall, enjoying life. Like, if I can give the joy back to people's lives by taking away some of their pain, whether it's mental or physical, that's like the most powerful thing in the entire world. And I get these testimonies that are like, Marlise, you changed my life.
Oh, I love
And that just like,
Your story alone can change someone's life
Very
and
true.
inspire them. I mean, girls already have that body dysphoria anyway, right? So imagine if you are deformed way, how self-conscious you're already going to be. And you were in pageants, nothing stopped you. And kudos to your parents.
Thank you.
Because they really instilled a self-confidence in you. Even though you had to take all these medications, you overcame a lot. You sang for President Bush, didn't
Both
you?
President Bushes.
Really?
I've done the governor inaugurations. I've sang at every like national sports team in Texas almost. And my dad was really the one that said, Marlise, God had to give you something to make you less perfect.
Oh.
And he was so sweet about it because I was so talented in
God,
music.
Barb, is there anything wrong with her?
And I get that sometimes, and I
have
have
a crooked eyebrow or something.
But my dad would say that to me, and I think that he created, and I'm so blessed to have the parents that I do, and they support me so much, and they're really my biggest referral system. They tell everybody, like, I think almost all my clients are over 60, and they all want to know, like, what is this magic potion that she sells? And I'm like, y'all, it's cannabis. And they're
Yeah.
like, what? You sell
What?
marijuana? No, I don't sell marijuana. But it's funny, they'll call me and they're like, I'm in Colorado. What should I get? I'm like, but that's another story.
That's a different
so
kind.
Funny.
Yes.
She's not just sitting around hitting her peace pipes.
That's
No.
great.
Oh, yeah, this
But
stuff
who
is
knows? Maybe that.
sublingual.
Yeah, it's sublingual. It's an oil you take under your tongue.
That full spectrum is amazing.
The full spectrum's amazing. And don't be afraid of THC, y'all. I mean, CBD is just one molecule in the plant. THC does have a very strong place, and our products don't make you high. They can show up on a drug test, but we have products that don't have THC, so that if you do have pre-employment or any type of testing that has to be done, we can make sure that that doesn't show up on the labs. But overall, I mean, anything from cannabis is going to be powerful. Even hemp seed in your salad, hemp seed dressing, emollients for your skin, and you can make 10,000 things from hemp.
Yeah.
It's such a powerful, amazing plant. I mean, the cannabis community itself has grown this incredible following, and it's pretty amazing to see it come to fruition, especially in Texas.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's not just about swish sweets and drinking on your gin and juice.
No.
We want
Sipping.
Snoop Dogg.
It's
Okay?
Snoop Dogg. Sipping.
But Snoop
Get it
Dogg has also made
Although
such an
when we
impact,
get
too.
back from the break, Snoop Dogg is in the house.
What?
I'm just kidding.
I wish that would be so
should've
cool.
waited.
I'm like, and
I
where's
should've
Martha?
waited. That's really-
Where's Martha?
Dr. Dre to Chronic. I've jammed
Yeah.
that Chronic. I've jammed that Chronic.
That's
album,
good.
though.
That's good
my
rap.
guilty pleasure.
90s rap was
What-
like
Oh,
the best.
90s rap. Don't play me.
My
Nicole
kids are
Kidman.
like, Mom.
We will go way back.
Yes.
Let's crank it up. Crank it up.
We're taking a break, so y'all stay tuned. So while on break,
Oh.
Brooke what'd you bust out with?
Oh, hang on.
Oh no, we're not gonna play it.
Hold
She's like,
on.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
We were talking about, I give my kids such a hard time. I give my kids such a hard time about the
California.
music that they listen to, but
I
then
hate
on
it.
road trips, me and my husband are jamming out or Eminem or Tupac and the Chronic album, and they're looking at mom and dad
Chronic
like,
is the best.
"What's the difference, mom and dad?" And
Oh.
what'd you do?
Oh, I turned on Tupac's Mama and told my kid, you better love me like Tupac loves his mama. We jammed that whole song.
I'm sorry, Mama.
Oh, that's such a good song.
It is a good song. I like
90s
Tupac.
rap was just the best.
It
And
was.
yes, a lot of it was cannabis related.
Whatever.
Which is fun because now when I go to events and I'm like, it's all 90s rap.
And I love it.
And
though.
it's so fun.
I can't listen to what's on the radio today.
Oh my gosh.
I
My
can't.
daughter was listening to one. It was just yelling. He was just like, rah, 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 the whole time. I'm like, how can you listen to this? It's like so terrible.
I don't get it. No, I
don't
have
get
to
it.
bring on back the 90s. You're going to know rap. You're going to know ours.
Yes.
You're not going to listen to
We're
new stuff.
making them well-rounded individuals.
Yes.
We're giving them an artistic, creative freedom to really just engage in the musicians
Yeah, that's
back
it.
in the day. That's
But in
what
rap.
it is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And rap.
But if you smoke pot, you're grounded.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's still illegal, you guys.
It is. It is.
Yes. You don't want to get caught with it.
No.
But since it was such a cohesive conversation, I just thought I'd let you guys enlighten you on our break conversation.
it was a good time.
Tell us a little bit more about your company. You
Sure.
educate doctors on cannabis.
I do.
And I love that because I feel like integrative medicine is so very vital.
So important, so important. When I was going through the studies, I realized, wow, this is very, very much advanced information. But I asked a couple of my doctors, like, do you guys know about the endocannabinoid system? You know, why were your meds not working and now my nerves are regenerating? Like, what's the deal? And they're like, yeah, that's just snake oil your body, blah, blah, blah. And so when I started bringing them information and reading about the endocannabinoid system, they're like, we didn't learn this in medical school. Now they do. The last 5 years they've integrated into
I love
medicine,
it.
which is so important because the endocannabinoid system is a viable system. I mean, it's very prevalent, and they say in 1994 when it was discovered, it was probably one of the biggest discoveries to understand that we had this other cellular receptor system, and we have an endo-opiate system. That's why opiates work the way that they do, and so understanding those systems is really important. But then, these doctors didn't know anything about it, and I was like, gosh, if CBD becomes a thing here, how are doctors going to integrate it into traditional medicine? And so I thought I could coin myself as like the in-between. I would be the cannabis advisor. I would come in and help your patients, transition to an alternative medicine. And the doctors were really for it. They were like, listen, I can't learn another thing. I'm maxed out. But if you can teach them, we'll work out a system. And so we created like a network of alternative and traditional doctors and wellness practitioners, therapists, all kinds of people within the ND Hemp group. And they would refer and I would refer out. And it was this wonderful network of changing people's lives with cannabis. And really the doctors saw these lab reports changing and they're like, this is science. This is truly changing people's biological networks, the way that they're responding to inflammation. I mean, blood sugar levels, everything. And so people are like, okay, we can't not pay attention to this. And then Indy kind of grew into, now I'm going to do seminars and teach people. I'm working on a book. I want to tell my story on a national level, and I want to tell other people's stories because there's so many incredible life-changing testimonials. But I knew that I needed to partner with a company that had a really high quality CBD product. I was making my own. I was working with some people that I knew that were growers, and it was a lot of work. Like making your own products is really hard. And with all the regulations, you need a clean kitchen, you need certain regulations for quality control, lab testings. It's very expensive and it's very difficult. And I really wanted to focus on the education, train other people to do what I do, and really just tell the story of like the world of CBD and plant medicine. I mean, really as a holistic view. And so I joined with Green Compass, and Green Compass Global is a USDA certified organic CBD brand out of North Carolina. So they're 6th generation farmers. They've been doing this for a really long time. And they were one of the first farmers to grow hemp in America when they changed the Farm Bill in 2014. So they were part of the pilot program. And they started growing hemp. These two farmers, the Wooten brothers, and our founders, Meredith and Sterling Cook, were introduced to CBD oil and they wanted to make their own. And so they decided, like, let's partner up. Let's maybe sell to, local doctors and pharmacies and things like that. But the word got out so quickly that all of these ladies that were just so thrilled with all of the work that CBD was doing for them they just started telling other people, and they thought, we want to change the way that the company is structured to make it so everyone can be a part of this. Everyone can tell their story.
Yes.
I mean, it doesn't necessarily just have to be a store or a doctor.
Right.
Like, everyone can share CBD. And so when I joined them, I did have a lot of, education and a certification, things like that. So they were like, we would love for you to come on as a presidential founder. And so now I get to educate the field, and I get to teach other people how I do what I do, and why CBD works, and how to share it with other people. And it's so much fun because the products work.
Yeah.
They're such high quality, and with all the regulations that are changing in the marketplace, there's so much CBD oil that's crap.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of chemicals. I was
Yeah.
going to say that's what I
Yes.
liked about the Green Compass. There's no chemicals,
That's the best.
preservatives,
Nothing.
parabens, all of that synthetic substances that they put to make it cheaper, to make the
Right.
compound cheaper so they can make a higher quantity.
Mhm.
To me, for something to be synthetic, for it to be cheaper as opposed to natural, that's just so ridiculous. That's just a way that they try to get something in there to making us sick. I
Yeah,
mean, I hate
it's
to
true.
say
It's
it.
true,
They
though.
like us better when we're sick. They make
Yeah.
more money off us. when we're
Population
sick.
control, all the medicines that we have to buy. Yeah.
But
So
it's important to look for a quality CBD product. You want to make sure that they do have like a QR label so that you can scan it and see the lab reports. You want to know where the hemp is grown. Is it grown in the United States? Because 80% of the CBD oil out there is actually imported from China. And a lot of it's white labeled. And by the way, you cannot buy CBD oil on Amazon. It's actually not legal. So anything that's coined as
uses it
CBD
too.
on
She's
Amazon is
super
actually just hemp seed oil. So you have to be really careful. Sometimes it's not even hemp seed oil. You're buying a bottle of olive oil with like just chemicals
I
in
don't
it.
understand. It's not doing anything.
Yeah, exactly. I hear it all the time.
So this is Marlise Ledbetter,
We love
presidential
her.
founder for Green Compass CBD and Indie Hemp Company. Let our audience know how they can get in touch with you
Sure.
before we cut out.
Yeah, so my website is www.indiehempco.com, and you can schedule a consult there. You can shop for CBD products right there. And I do have a very extensive blog, so if you want to learn more about cannabis and CBD and how it works, why it works, maybe why it hasn't worked for you, how to do a reset, all of that information's on my website. And then both of my handles are Indie Hemp Co. on Instagram and Facebook. And then you can also follow me as a public profile on Instagram and Facebook as the Cannaboss, Marlise.
Love it.
The Cannaboss.
I love it.
Number one.
Uh-huh.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. And
Yes,
I
this is
feel
so
more
fun.
educated. How about
I
you?
do.
You
I
feel
love
better?
it. Yeah.
We're going to go jam to some Snoop Dogg, and we'll see you guys next week.
Yes. We love it.
Bye.
Bye.